Welcome to the Ordinary Guy Garage. I'm Scott, just an ordinary guy. Anyways, my El Camino is currently on waiting for parts mode. I got these little clips that go on the bottom of the fan shroud. When you put the fan shroud in, they clip in, and then you put a couple bolts in the top, holds the fan shroud on. I was missing one of those clips. Now, if this was my S10, I would just make something up and stick it in there. Not a big deal. If it was a Chevy, the 66, I'd probably make something and go in there. But the El Camino, I'm not trying to be perfect on everything, but I want it right, and so I'm waiting on, well, 2 clips because I had to order them in a pair. And also a remote transmission cooler for it, which isn't factory, but the cooler inside of my radiator is no good, so I had to order one of those. So they were supposed to be here Friday. Friday's come and gone, and so hopefully Monday, we'll see what happens. But in the meantime, El Camino is in the shop and I can't get it out unless I push it out and push it back in, and it's been raining on, raining off, and I don't want it sitting out in the rain, so here it is, right there. We're kind of at a stall with the Impala right now because I have to pull apart one of the parts cars and I have the motorhome sitting in front of it right now because we're getting that ready to go for a trip, in the next, as soon as I get it ready. So anyways, everything's kind of in a bottleneck right now. And so anyways, I thought I'd do something a little bit different. How about a shop tour or a little tool tour and a couple of my opinions on a couple of the tools that I have and don't have or whatever, I don't know, just something. Anyways, here we go. All right, well, here's my welding area. This is a Lincoln Power MIG 215 that I picked up off of Craigslist. Got it for, I think I paid $700 or $800 for it with a bottle. So that was a pretty good deal I got on that one, so I couldn't pass it up. And I'd been wanting an actual MIG for a while, so I picked this up a couple of years ago. It's been a really good welder. It was a hell of a deal. And then of course I got my battery chargers I keep on it. Over here is where I keep my welding, cutting torch. I've always used propane as instead of acetylene. I have a full acetylene bottle right there, but I've always used propane. I guess it cuts a little bit better from what I hear. It burns a little hotter, I guess. I don't know. And it's cheap. It's real cheap. It cost me like, I don't know, less than $10 to fill the bottle, and it lasts a long time. So that's that. On to more of the welding. This was my wire feed. I picked this up at Lowe's. It was ordered, I've had this about 10 years, 12 years, something like that. And this was ordered or came in and they didn't have a SKU for it. So they put it out on their return bin, not return bin, but discount bin, and I paid $150 in the box for it. So as soon as I saw that, I picked it up, put it in my cart, no questions asked. There we go. I got a couple other welders, but they're in my storage. I don't really use them. It's a couple stick welders. Then of course my cutoff. If you ever have an opportunity to buy a cutoff, I have an abrasive cutoff, but this one here has the teeth on it, the carbide teeth. Oh, these things are great. They cut real straight. They don't make a bunch of sparks, and the best thing is they don't wear down, like a abrasive wheel does. So that's pretty good. Of course, I got my DeWalt thing I use a lot here. It's the XR20. I would highly recommend one of these. Battery lasts forever on that. I bought these here in a set. It was like $100 or $200. I can't remember. I think it was $100 for the set. They're great because they're cheap, but the battery lasts about 5 minutes. So anyways, that's those. We get down into over here, this bench, and of course I keep all my angle grinders and everything right in there, and some of my other stuff, and the bigger drills and corded drills go in the bottom. This bench I made a few years back. My son built one. He was 5 when he built his. He welded his together. It was kind of a neat deal, but it's in his shop, not out here. Originally I was just going to get a middle box and put one of those middle tool boxes right there, and it was only going to be a part of a shelf, but I went to Sears and they had this on discount Can't remember how much I paid, so I just bought that and stuck it in the workbench. And I kind of like it that way. This box here, I keep, you know, my drill bits in it. I try to keep everything as organized as I can. My drill bits, and this one here is just kind of miscellaneous drill stuff, and you know, staple gun, don't use that too much. And of course all my flashlights and whatnot, and then my cutting drawer, you know, all my pink scissors that my wife lost. So that's about that. Then I got my big box here. Keep all my sockets organized in there. A lot of years of collecting sockets in there. And then get into my wrenches. I'm missing a few just because of the sets, the way that I bought the sets. It's not because I lost any. One of the things that I found years ago, I started keeping everything really organized, and I found I didn't lose any tools. So here's my extra wrenches, torque wrenches, crescent wrenches, that kind of stuff. Got my hammers. Still have a section to fill right here, but got my hammers and my pry bars in there. Coming on down, then I got my air tool selection and my impact sockets for all my air tools. And then I got the bottom drawer here. I keep mainly for a couple of miscellaneous air tools, you know, bodywork stuff, and my larger tools that I need for my Kenworth. And we have on the other side, oh, that's just a junk drawer. That's a junk drawer for now. I'm going to do something with it. All my ratchets and extensions. Of course, all my other smaller pry bars and chisels and whatnot. All of my pliers. There's another drawer with some miscellaneous bigger stuff in it. I keep that, and then I go into this one here, and it's kind of the same kind of thing. Pencils and pens. We got repair kits, plug kits, and miscellaneous drawer. Some here's got snap rings and all my different zip ties. You know, just try to keep it as organized as I can. The hardest part is remembering where everything is. You know, but you know, it may seem crazy, like I said, that everything is so organized, like I'm somehow OCD or whatever, but that's not it. It's a matter of being able to find stuff. I hate looking for things. And I got a couple things that are out of here. It just keeps on going. That's how I keep everything. All my pullers and whatnot, and then some of my other things that are in boxes down in here. So that was my first toolbox I bought many years ago. Was first this one here. I bought this top one. Well, not my first one, but of this collection. I unfortunately got ripped off a couple of times and lost some tools and had to rebuild. That was many years ago. This was the first box I bought to rebuild my set. And then I went into that box there. And then I went into the box over here when I built that. And then the other box over here got that one, and then the big box. And it's just, you know, and this is over many years. We're talking over 20 years worth of collecting for that. This is one of the greatest things ever. I got this from Uline, and it's, you know, instead of having buckets, I used to have crap loads of buckets like that with nuts and bolts and stuff in them. I bought this thing here and I started organizing, and now I can find brass fittings. I got studs in here, cap screws, Allen headed cap screws, you know, just different size stuff, you know, smaller 3/8, older bolts, and then I have the new 3/8, you know, the nuts, I mean everything, it's all organized. Also up in here, same thing, I've organized these here. I bought these for like, God, I can't remember, they were like $2 or $3 a piece for these things here, and you can kind of see inside there. I put switches in there, and all my electrical connectors are all divvied out. So one of the things that I learned from my dad was, if you're gonna go ahead and if you're gonna buy stuff, go ahead and buy enough that you have leftovers. And so I do that, and that keeps me from having to run to the store. As long as I keep everything organized, it keeps me from having to run to the store a lot of times. So that's that. Now on to some of my power tools. I got this jet, dog's coming in. I got this jet drill press here. Works pretty good. It was a big acquisition for me. Of course, the lathe, this is an older, it's a 1920, built in 1925. It's a South Bend lathe. And my only lathe experience I have is high school. And then whatever I do on this. So I kind of fumble my way through it, but it's a lot of fun. And you know what, I tell you what, this thing will bail me out for a lot of little things. Need a spacer? Not a problem. Need a little screw to hold your air cleaner down? Not a problem. So that thing's pretty cool. Then of course my bench grinder there. I made a stand out of it from an old, one of the rear brake rotors off of my F-250. And it works pretty good. It's not too heavy and it's not too light. It holds it just right. You know, you can't really put a lot of pressure onto these grinders because they're, you know, they'll stop the motor. And then there was another one of my Craigslist deals, this jet bandsaw, and it's got a fluid. It'll run fluid through it and it'll cool the blade. I don't have any. I have the fluid. I just haven't filled it up. I just squirt it with oil because I don't use it so much that I need to have the coolant in there. So, and then of course come over here to my jacks, different jacks. Never been happy with this one. This one here was a Craftsman. It was the Craftsman Professional one. I bought it because it was supposed to be one of their better ones, and I've never liked it. I haven't been happy with it. I'm gonna have to go buy a Harbor Freight one. I guess they have a Daytona that's pretty good. So then of course the ATV jack. This here is a Harbor Freight thing I've had for 20 years, and works great. It works really good. Of course, this is the new motor, not the new motor, the motor that's going to go in the Impala. And then of course I have the wall of shame over here that I'm going to build, or clean and build this section of the shop right here into something that functions better than this. But in order to do it, I was going to build some lofts. In order to do it, I got to have my shop cleaned out. No cars in here, and until it stops raining, that's what we're kind of stuck with it. So anyways, I think that's about it for my tour, other than just a couple miscellaneous things. Got an air compressor in the corner over there, and I got the arbor press, which is pretty neat for light pressing things on, but it doesn't really, like, if you want to press something apart, it's definitely not a hydraulic press, so it doesn't have a lot of power. It has a multiplication, when you pull on it, it's great. It's great, but it's not a hydraulic press. So anyways, that's it. Well, that's about it. Just rambling on about crap in my shop. Like I said, this is a collection that a lot of this stuff, a lot of these things I got from, Craigslist and waited, or I just happened to run across a deal like on that little welder, and I'm like, whoa, I can't pass that up, so I picked it up. Same thing with the bigger MIG welder. It was on Craigslist, and I'm like, wow, that was a heck of a deal. So I picked it up, and that's how I've had to do it. And keep your stuff organized, and you'll keep it for a long time. I need to buy another box. I'm started to do a little bit of bodywork, and so I need a box for bodywork stuff too. So that's on the list of things to do. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe and like, and I saw new subscribers again. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. You guys are awesome. And tell your friends and share and all that good stuff. So anyways, in the meantime, stay safe.